Question 836. Jerry and Ronnie form a partnership. Their partnership can take title to property in A. Only in the name of one of the partners designated by the partnership to hold title. B. Only in the name of the partnership. C. In the name of either of the partners. D. Only in the name of a third party. Correct answer is C. In the name of either of the partners. According to California real estate law, a partnership has flexibility in how it can take title to real property. The property can indeed be held 1. In the name of the partnership itself, e.g., Jerry and Ronnie Partnership. This is often the cleanest and most direct method under the entity theory of partnership. 2. In the name of one or more of the individual partners, e.g., Jerry Smith and Ronnie Jones, as partners of Jerry and Ronnie Partnership. When partners hold title in this manner, they are holding it for the benefit of the partnership, and it is considered partnership property. This is related to the historical concept of tenancy in partnership. 3. In the name of a trustee as a third party, often through a trust agreement where the trustee holds legal title for the benefit of the partnership. Given these options, the most encompassing correct answer, acknowledging the flexibility permitted by California law, is in the name of either of the partners. This implicitly includes the ability for one partner to hold title on behalf of the partnership, which is a recognized method in California. Question 837. The statute of frauds requires that the following kinds of agreements be in writing in order to be valid, except an A. Listing agreement, B. Contract to sell property, C. Agreement by two brokers to share a commission, D. Buyer agency agreement. Correct answer is C. Agreement by two brokers to share a commission. The statute of frauds requires certain agreements to be in writing to be enforceable, particularly those involving real estate. Let's examine the options in light of California's statute of frauds. Civil Code Section 1624. A. Listing agreement. An agreement authorizing or employing an agent or broker to purchase or sell real estate, or lease for more than 1 year, must be in writing. This falls under the statute of frauds. B. Contract to sell property. Contracts for the sale of real property or an interest therein must be in writing. This is a core requirement of the statute of frauds. C. Agreement by two brokers to share a commission. Historically, agreements between brokers to share a commission have generally been held not to fall under the statute of frauds in California. That's meaning they can be enforceable even if oral. This is based on the reasoning that the statute of frauds aims to protect principals, buyers, sellers, from unfounded claims by brokers. It's not to regulate agreements between brokers. D. Buyer agency agreement. An agreement authorizing or employing an agent or broker to purchase real estate on behalf of a buyer, especially concerning their compensation, must be in writing. In California, recent legislation, effective January 1, 2025, even more explicitly mandates written buyer representation agreements for compensation. Therefore, the agreement that is not required to be in writing by the statute of frauds is an agreement by two brokers to share a commission. Question 838. Is personal property, not real property? A. Stock in a corporation. B. Airspace over an airport. C. Apple orchard. D. Mineral rights. Correct answer is A. Stock in a corporation. Let's analyze each option to determine if it's personal property or real property. A. Stock in a corporation. Shares of stock represent ownership in a corporation. While a corporation might own real estate, the stock itself is a certificate of ownership in the company, which is considered personal property, specifically, an intangible personal property. B. Airspace over an airport. When defined and linked to a specific land parcel or building, airspace is typically considered part of the real property. This means that rights to the space above your land are generally included with your property ownership. Over an airport, it's typically subject to government regulation but is still fundamentally a dimension of land ownership. C. Apple orchard. An apple orchard consists of trees that are planted in and affixed to the land. Trees, crops, and other vegetation that are naturally growing or cultivated and permanently attached to the land are considered real property. While the fruit itself, once harvested, becomes personal property, the orchard as a whole is real property. D. Mineral rights. Mineral rights are the ownership of the minerals, e.g., oil, gas, gold, beneath the surface of a property. These rights can be sold or leased separately from the surface rights, but they are considered an interest in real property. Based on this analysis, the item that is personal property, not real property, is stock in a corporation. Question 839. What kind of property listing requires the owner to pay a commission to a broker in the event of a sale, even if the owner sells the property on his own? A. Open listing. B. Exclusive agency listing. C. Exclusive right to sell listing. D. Internet listing. Correct answer is C. Exclusive right to sell listing. A. Open listing. The owner can work with multiple brokers, and only the broker who finds the buyer earns a commission. If the owner sells the property themselves, no commission is owed to any broker. B. Exclusive agency listing. The owner grants exclusive rights to one broker, but retains the right to sell the property themselves without paying a commission to the broker. The broker earns a commission only if they or another broker, working through the exclusive agency broker, finds the buyer. C. Exclusive right to sell listing. This is the most common type of listing and offers the most protection to the broker. Under this agreement, the broker is entitled to a commission regardless of who sells the property, the broker, another broker, or even the owner themselves, during the term of the listing agreement. D. Internet listing. This refers to a method of advertising, online, and is not a type of listing agreement defining commission structure. Therefore the correct answer is C. Exclusive right to sell listing. Question 840. Economic obsolescence is generally considered to be A. Unimportant. B. Curable. C. Incurable. D. No longer a factor in most communities. Correct answer is C. Incurable. Economic obsolescence refers to a loss in property value caused by factors external to the property itself. These factors are typically beyond the owner's control and cannot be cured through repairs or renovations. Here are some examples of factors that can cause economic obsolescence. 1. Neighborhood decline. A decline in the overall quality of the neighborhood, such as increased crime rates or deteriorating infrastructure. 2. Changes in zoning. New zoning laws that restrict the use of the property. 3. Economic downturns. Economic recessions or depressions that reduce demand for property. 4. Changes in transportation patterns. The construction of new highways or the closure of nearby businesses. Because these factors are typically beyond the owner's control, economic obsolescence is generally considered incurable. While a property owner might lobby for change or try to adapt their property, they cannot directly cure the underlying external cause of the depreciation in value. Question 841. A contract signed by a minor is A. Voidable. B. Void. C. Unenforceable. D. None of the above. Correct answer is A. Voidable. A void contract is one that was never legally enforceable from the beginning. It's as if it never existed. Contracts for illegal purposes are void, for example. A contract with a minor is generally not void from the start. An unenforceable contract is a valid contract that cannot be enforced in a court of law, often due to a legal technicality, like not being in writing when required by the statute of frauds. While a minor's contract might become unenforceable if the minor disaffirms it, voidable more accurately describes its initial status. A contract signed by a minor, someone under the age of legal majority, which is 18 in most states including California, is generally voidable. The contract is valid and enforceable unless and until the minor chooses to disaffirm or void it. The minor has the right to cancel the contract, typically within a reasonable time after reaching the age of majority. The other party to the contract, however, usually cannot void the contract due to the minor's minority. There are exceptions where a minor's contract might not be voidable, such as contracts for necessities, food, clothing, shelter, or if the minor misrepresents their age. However, the general rule remains that a contract with a minor is voidable at the minor's option. Question 842. When a real estate agent pays a portion of his or her commission to the buyer, the agent is required to A. Inform the escrow agent, B. Inform the seller, C. Be subject to prosecution by the district attorney, D. There is no requirement for the agent to do anything. Correct answer is B. Inform the seller. When a real estate agent pays a portion of their commission to the buyer, they are essentially reducing the seller's net proceeds from the sale. Therefore, it is crucial for the agent to inform the seller about this arrangement. This disclosure ensures transparency and allows the seller to make informed decisions about the sale. Failing to disclose this information could be considered a breach of fiduciary duty and may have legal consequences for the agent. Question 843. A. And provides the holder with the right to use another person's property without holding an estate. A. Easement. B. Variance. C. License. D. Reversionary interest. Correct answer is A. Easement. A variance is a deviation from zoning ordinances granted by a local government. It allows a property owner to do something on their own property that would otherwise be prohibited by zoning laws. It does not involve using another person's property. Reversionary interest is a future interest in real property where the property reverts to the original grantor, or their heirs, after a specific event, e.g., the termination of a life estate. This is an ownership interest that becomes possessory in the future, not merely a right to use another's property without holding an estate. A license is also a right to use another person's property without holding an estate. But it is typically a personal, revocable, and non-assignable privilege, not an actual interest in the land. Think of a ticket to a sporting event or permission to hunt on someone's land. While it technically fits the description, in real estate law, an easement is the more formal and enduring right that creates an interest in the land, though non-possessory. In general real estate questions about property rights, easement is the primary answer when discussing enduring rights to use another's land. An easement is a non-possessory right to use another person's land for a specific purpose. For example, a utility company might have an easement to run power lines across your property, or your neighbor might have an easement to cross your land to access a public road. The holder of the easement has a right to use the land, but they do not own the land or hold an estate in it. Therefore, an easement most accurately fits the description of providing a holder with the right to use another person's property without holding an estate. Question 844. Which is not a required element for the creation of an agency relationship? A. Payment of consideration. B. The subject of the agency is not illegal. C. Agreement by the parties. D. Competency of the principal. Correct answer is A. Payment of consideration. For the creation of a valid agency relationship, the following elements are generally required. Agreement by the parties. C. Both the principal and the agent must consent to the relationship. This consent can be express, written or oral, or implied by their actions. Legal purpose. B. The activities or subject matter of the agency must be legal. An agency created for an illegal purpose is void. Competency of the principal. D. The principal must have the legal capacity to enter into the agency agreement and to authorize the agent's actions. The agent also needs to be competent, but the question specifies principal. Payment of consideration, e.g., a commission or fee, is usually involved in a professional agency relationship. But it is not a legal prerequisite for the creation of the agency itself. An agency relationship can be formed even if the agent is acting gratuitously, without pay. Question 845. An advantage in owning an income-generating property is: A. Deduction of depreciation, B. Deduction of interest, C. Both A and B. D. Neither A nor B. Correct answer is C. Both A and B. Owning an income-generating property offers several tax advantages, including 1. Deduction of depreciation. Landlords can deduct a portion of the cost of the property, excluding land value, over time as depreciation. This reduces taxable income. 2. Deduction of interest. Interest paid on the mortgage used to purchase the property is often deductible. These deductions can significantly reduce the overall tax burden for property owners. However, it's important to consult with a tax professional to understand the specific rules and regulations that apply to your situation.